Hi there, greetings and salutations from Hoagies and Hops Chili Water right here, 42nd Boulevard in Indianapolis. Some fabulous, absolutely awesome food, better people, great beer, better people, all of it. Right here at Hoagies and Hops Chili Water. I'm Jake Query. That is Derek Schultz. It is the incredibly, creatively, and appropriately, charitably award-winning, all of those things named, charitably award-winning in terms of the accolades. Query and Schultz, is that the name of the show? I almost said Query Company.
No, don't do that.
Well, no, it's just a habit.
I know it's a habit,
Yeah.
but there's more legacy brand power.
I don't disagree with that.
Query and Schultz compared to Query and Company.
But you understand, I have to say one of them 20 times a day and the other one time a day, right?
I remember when we first started this, restarted this in 2020, and I think it took until show 2 or show 3 before I said Fox Sports 1260 at one point, and I think that was the only time that I ever said that, thankfully.
Nonetheless, it is Query and Schultz, and we're right here at 42nd and Boulevard with another. And Derek, I have a major personal confession to make today. We'll do it later in the show, but I do have one.
You seem happy about it, so it can't be anything too embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to wake up, actually, because I tripped over the intro there. But what we know is this. The Colts now have a Super Bowl roster because they just collected the greatest haul in the history of the NFL draft.
Man.
In front of the greatest crowd in the history of the NFL
Chris
draft.
Ballard in his bag, baby. Kind of like what we do with the IU men's basketball transfer portal. This is the Colts' time to shine, baby. Everything is A-okay. Here we go. I will say this. I stopped long ago because I just don't have time for it. I stopped long ago taking deep dives into NFL prospects. If for the people that do that, I mean, I know plenty that do that. They are very smart, very talented people. They know their stuff. I am not disparaging them at all. You know, a lot of those guys, the guys that I work with on Locked On Colts, Zach Hicks and Jake Arthur, they're unbelievable at what they do, right? Or the national people, Lance Zierlein, people like that do this for a living are unbelievable at what they do. But somewhere along the line, Jake, you know this, 10, 12 years ago, suddenly everybody became a draft expert, right? Suddenly everybody was like, oh, I've got all 22, so now I can watch this or that, or I can watch tape from their college days or whatever, or I can, go over their cone drill and some of the combine workouts that they do. And, yeah, I've got him as CB9. Got him as CB9 on my big board. And it's like, dude, what? Like your big board?
Well, here's what this is the thing to me that I always, not to be a total cynic as well about the NFL draft. If it's your thing, if that's your jam, cool. But I do get a kick out of it when you get into rounds 5 and 6 and the Colts draft. Who did they take in the 6th round here?
They took Caden Curry from Greenwood,
from
Center Grove, yeah.
So that's probably a bad example because everyone knows Caden Curry, obviously. But in round 7, okay?
Seth McGowan.
Okay, a felon. So they
former.
Well, you're not a former felon.
Jake, here in the United States of America,
Correct.
If you serve your time and you take your punishment, then I understand for record-keeping's sake.
Correct.
But, yeah, let's give him another chance.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve another chance. What I'm saying is on his resume for the NFL draft, when it said, are you a convicted felon, he had to check yes.
Fair.
He didn't get to put parentheses, former.
Yeah, fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not a former graduate, right?
Oh, okay, fine, fair. Yeah, I don't want to get too in the weeds.
Either way, when that pick was available, the people that were like, I really would have liked the guard out of Texas A&M. Really?
Yeah, who cares?
You're at pick 266 here. Are you?
Yeah, the likelihood of these guys even becoming starting level players is very slim.
Right.
When you start to get here. But yeah, I don't have the time for it, so I am going
now, when you say you don't have the time for it, you mean like you're just so cool and busy now, or like I don't have time for that, man?
No, not cool. Not cool. I mean, let me take that back. Let's get that in post, actually, Vince. 3, 2, 1. I am cool, but it's more about being busy because I've got Little League Baseball. I've got other things in my life to do than take deep dives. What's that?
What position are you this year?
No, my son, my 9-year-old, plays Little League.
Okay.
Plays Little League Baseball.
What team again?
Coach has got him in the outfield. He should be playing an infield position.
Is he in right field?
Coach doesn't know what he's doing right now.
He's not in right field, is he?
Coach has got something against him. That's what it is.
Yeah.
No, seriously, he's actually having a great season. We're having a lot of fun. He loves baseball, and we love going and cheering for him. And I don't know how people do it with like 3 or 4 kids in travel sports. Like I just don't know. I don't know how that's even feasible. But no, I have too much going on with work and life to pop in a tape of George Gums Jr. and watch like 400 of his college reps.
Right.
I don't have time to do that. If you do, I'm not knocking you because, like I said, some of these people do this for a living. This is what they focus on. But I go off what people that I trust, who I know who have a track record of success in evaluating these prospects go off of. And as snarky as we're being about Chris Ballard and the whole thing, when it comes to value and need, which is really what you want to just kind of connect those two things, right? When you're talking about, okay, was this a successful draft? Did you combine value with need? It appears that the Colts did that with at least with their first 2 picks.
Fair. Listen, in terms of C.J. Allen out of Georgia, the linebacker, this is a guy that, obviously comes with pedigree. You don't play at Georgia without knowing how to play the game of football, number one. And number two, that means that you're used to kind of the spotlight, the pressure that goes with it. And he was a good player from the time that he arrived in Athens. He's a native of Georgia, but nonetheless. So I do think good player. Now, am I able to sit here and say he's going to fit in best in Lou Anarumo's scheme with this player or that player? That's beyond probably my pay grade. But I know this. They were depleted at the linebacker position. Now, linebacker it's not 1985. It's a different era of the NFL where linebacker is not as emphasized as it has been in the past, but you still need good ones. Zaire Franklin was a very solid, productive, number-accumulating linebacker. And, of course, he's gone now, and so you've got to replace that. And I think they did that. They also added some depth later in the round with it. I think, Derek, what you saw here was, and I keep saying this, I don't know if it's because you say the Colts roster is so good and so deep, or if it's that you say the Colts roster is just so average across the board, there's not a lot of disparity from position 1 to 2. But there wasn't an area like a year ago of a jump-out glaring need. You absolutely have to have this player. And so, therefore, you just kind of shore up different areas and get yourself depth in different areas. Linebacker, I think they had to shore up. Other than that, they got depth on the line. They got depth at running back. They got depth. One of the things to me that becomes frustrating, and maybe it's power of suggestion in my mind, but it would be nice one year if they were able to build depth in other areas even greater because they didn't have to spend 2 picks on pass rush and defensive end, which is an area they can. And I get you want as many turns as you can get at it, but that seems to be an annual thing, right?
They're making up for past draft mistakes.
Correct.
Every year.
Correct. But outside of that, if I were to complain, give me your one nitpick. If there was one thing that Christmas has done and all the gifts have been unwrapped and you're sitting there and you're looking over all of it and somebody says, did you have a good Christmas? And you say, yeah, I did actually. But there was one thing that I kind of wanted and I didn't get it.
They still don't have – I'll leave Edge off because people know that. They still don't have a replacement for Michael Pittman Jr.
Bingo. That's it.
They still don't.
The receiver they took, Deion Burks, who's a former Purdue guy, he and then Oklahoma. But he is, I think, can be a really good player, but he's not the size, the over-the-middle, the big target guy you need.
I mean, he can play outside.
Tyler Warren's going to become that guy, I think.
Yeah, I think they'll try to do the best they can with the sum of their parts. But, Jake, what happens if Josh Downs gets hurt? What happens if, God forbid, Alec Pierce gets hurt?
I hate to say this.
Then you're really screwed.
There's probably not an if on that. There's a win.
I mean, right? It's kind of one of those things. Like, remember those years ago in the late Andrew Luck years where, it was T.Y. Hilton and then no one else. And, you had Dontrell Inman come in one year and kind of save the day. You had Zach Pascal come in one year and save the day. And you don't want to get back to that. The Colts had really shored up their wide receiver depth chart the past couple of years. But now, even though they have good players at the top, like Downs and Pierce and even Ashton Dulin is at least a veteran player, they're so thin. They're so thin at that spot. So I think that's one area where I worry. They don't have a second edge. Arden Key.
The Colts wide receiver room went on Ozempic, right?
Yeah, they got thin.
Yeah.
They got thin. They did get their green dot, so at least they have that. They have the green dot.
When did this become a thing?
Because they needed a green dot.
But when did this become a thing?
And now C.J. Allen fills that role as your green dot.
For those that don't know, and I did not, I'll confess it. I'm one of the few that will confess it. I'd never heard this phrase. Until a week ago, I had never heard the phrase, he's a green dot.
Yeah, green dot. It's a good green dot.
What it means is that's the player who has the helmet on that has the ability to communicate with the coach on the sideline.
Yeah, so that's a simplistic way to put it. Green dot is Mike linebacker. Yeah. So
what about Sam?
Key guy in the Mike linebacker. Usually the inside or middle linebackers. Green dot. Green dot's been around for a long time. It's a term that football people know. I know. I've known it since.
Isn't green dot like a gift card that Steve Harvey gives out on Family Feud? Isn't that a green dot?
I mean, it's kind of like, again, I talk about 10, 12 years ago. Edge, EDGE. That they're actually identifying players as edge. That was never a thing. It was DE. It was defensive end. Right? No one ever said edge. So yeah, I all kidding aside, green dot's kind of one of those new things.
When did you first hear that phrase? Literally, for me, it was a week ago.
Last year's draft.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Colts didn't need a green dot last year's draft. But I heard it last year and I was like, green dot. I was like, what's that? And I didn't take it as literal, like literally, like you said, the green dot. I guess it kind of makes sense, but yeah, now it's just being thrown around like it's jargon. We do this with soccer, with European soccer terms, like not footy and kit and things like that, but pitch or racing fans. Jake, oh, that was a terrible shunt.
Yeah,
dude, what? Where you're from Crawfordsville. You can't use the word shunt.
What about people that spell tires with a Y?
Oh God, it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. It's just, I think it's just a way.
You're very irritable.
For people. No, I'm actually in a really good mood. For people to sound like they know what they're talking about. But let's kind of steer it back. C.J. Allen can come in and play and start right away. A.J. Halsey from LSU. Come in, play, start right away. That's what the Colts needed. The Colts needed guys that were going to help now.
Especially in the case of A.J. Halsey, because you have Nick Cross going out. And I go back to Derek.
I don't know why they cheaped out on him. They could have easily brought Nick Cross back.
I would agree. I thought
they seem to like Nick Cross, too.
He was a good player.
Yeah.
I thought.
I mean, not that Halsey won't be, but it just seemed like that was a pick that you probably could have used elsewhere.
The difference between Halsey and Nick Cross would be that Nick Cross was an elite-level athlete, no question, but you had to kind of wait for the football instinct to come into play. And it did. And there was a risk. We've seen in the past where they've taken guys at that spot that they were waiting for the NFL part of it to evolve, and it never really took off. T.J. Green comes to mind in that regard. But with Nick Cross, it came together where you had a pretty good player, and now you let that walk. But this is a player in Halsey, I think, that probably needs less incubating, if you will.
Yeah, so you get 2 day one starters in your first 2 picks. Not bad, considering you didn't have a top 50 selection,
Correct.
right? Because they traded down and added another 4th. We'll see on Betcher. Maybe he can compete for the second linebacker spot. Jalen Farmer might be able to compete with Matt Gonzalez at guard, or at least fills out the depth because you lose Danny Pinter, right?
The other thing, too, is if he's able to compete with Gonzalez, does Gonzalez then – are you able to move him to different spots?
Yeah, that too. The 2 edge guys are whatever. You fill out sort of the depth. And look, Caden Curry is a great story, right? Center Grove, he was an unbelievable player at Center Grove. And then he could have transferred from Ohio State. He was kind of buried there for 3 years, and he waited and waited and waited. Then, boom, he got his opportunity. He's an All-American. You know what I mean? Like, he was a great player this year at Ohio State. Deion Burks is electric. It's weird to think that first Ryan Walters team had like Dylan Thiedemann and Max Clare and Deion Burks. Like, they had some good Nick Scrouton. I mean, they had some really good talent before,
by the way,
everything hit the fan.
Here's a question for Rakestraw, okay, or for you. But if I don't know it, then I'm assuming that you wouldn't. Certainly, Rake might. If Braden Smith gets drafted in the first round of the NBA draft.
Oh, we're talking even a different sports draft. Okay.
If that were to happen, does Westfield become the first Indianapolis Metro high school in history to have a first-round pick in the NFL and NBA draft in the same year?
Yeah.
It's got to be, right?
Ooh. Yeah. I mean, yes, it would.
The only thing I could think would be
you would know a North Central player from the 90s or something like, or LN or.
Well, the one that I thought was a possibility.
Man.
First rounder. That's the key.
Yeah.
The one that I thought would be a possibility would be if Jamie Asher out of Warren Central was a first-round pick at tight end. I don't know that he was a first-round pick, but if he was, he may have been the same year as Greg Graham.
Okay.
That's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, because Greg Graham was just out of the lottery, right? Like 16th or something overall.
Yeah, to Philly.
We'll look it up. Yeah.
It's not bad.
It would be in that era, right? Because that's when the township schools were all – I mean, not that Warren Central is not still a powerhouse, but like North Central had good teams, like those other teams over there that have now since kind of fallen back to the pack because of the rise of Carmel and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I wonder if that's ever happened with any in-state school, much less an Indianapolis high school. But Indianapolis would probably be your best bet for something like that. But overall, the draft class will have to, all of these guys, even Burks, even McGowan, Jake, DJ Giddens wasn't great last year, and they've got nothing else on the running back depth chart outside of your boy Ulysses.
Ulysses Bentley, the fourth. Yes,
yeah,
that's right.
He's coming in for a big season. All these guys, you can talk me into them playing some sort of a role where they're not just doing special teams, but like actually playing real rotational snaps. But that is more of an indictment on the Colts roster than it is praise of the class.
That's what I mean. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Like the fact that, we're praising Ballard. Oh, he got 2 day one starters. Well, he needed to get 2 day one starters. And let's face it, C.J. Allen could be the best linebacker in the world. You're the starting linebacker by default. They got nobody else. They got no one else that can do that. So even though I'm high on C.J. Allen and think that he's going to be a good player, as do a lot of other people, that distinction is more by default than anything else because the cupboard's completely bare at that spot. They needed a green dot. They had no green dots.
They could have gone on Family Feud. Steve Harvey gives them out. $500 card.
Where's my green dot?
Okay.
Where's my green dot at?
Do you like Dots candy?
I do, but get stuck. Get stuck in the ridges of your teeth. It's the worst. It's the worst.
You chew Jolly Ranchers like they're candy.
Yes, but they're hard. They don't gel to the tops of your teeth and then rot.
Okay.
That's the problem with Dots. You can't chew them because you got to stick. I hate sticking my fingers in my mouth when I have to get.
Jamie Asher, a 5th round pick in '95, according to Ray.
But still, you had a high school with 2 draft picks in 1 year in 2 separate sports. I mean, isn't that insane?
No, they were 2 years apart.
Oh, they were 2 years. Okay,
I knew that Asher was my class and Graham was 2 years ahead of me, but I never know.
I thought you said it had to be. So not only was it not a first-round pick,
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, even that's remarkable to have 2 NFL and NBA 2 years apart from each other.
Yeah.
But
other draft storylines, obviously, one of the big ones, and you guys know if you're a listener of Jake's radio show, Querying Company, or if you watched this show over the years, Jake is very much a draft attendance figure skeptic. 805,000 people.
Derek, let me just interrupt you right now. Let me interrupt right now.
Yeah, I didn't even need to tee it up for you.
I think you will have to agree with me on this. The very first year that the NFL draft announced an attendance figure, I immediately was like, there's no way. And as I always say, it's because we have tangible proof in Indianapolis what 1/3 of a million people looks like. If you put them side by side, elbow to elbow, 70 deep, it's a 2.5-mile circle to get that many people there. So I'm always hesitant that people in a parking lot area or, whatever accumulate to that. But in the early years of my NFL draft attendance skepticism, I admittedly looked like, one of these flat earthers, right? I mean, it was just like, dude, get over it. They have inflated it now to such an absurd level that finally everybody, I think, is on board. I don't even have to basically make the argument anymore. They make it for me. Fair?
Yeah, I mean, they have kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit about how they do their counting, which makes a lot of sense because just logistically and feasible speaking, it's just not possible that 600,000 people were in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's not possible that 775,000 people were in Detroit. As much as I like Detroit, I mean, Detroit's not that big. And just to get all those people in one space.
805,000 is larger than the population of Marion County.
Yeah, it's just not possible. So we know that they're counting them multiple times, which is fine. It's still a hugely popular. I mean, they did this. They wanted a traveling roadshow, and they've created a traveling roadshow. Remember, it used to be in front of 1,000 people at Radio City Music Hall. It used to be 800 people from Long Island and Jersey, Jets fans.
Right.
And that was it. And they just boo the Jets picks, and that was it. And they did that for essentially 50 years, where it was either in a hotel or it was in Midtown Manhattan. Now you can go to these places like Cleveland, like Detroit, like Pittsburgh, that aren't necessarily used to having big, large-scale events like this. I mean, I really like Pittsburgh.
It's incredibly impressive. Why anybody would want to stand as they were showing the crowd at the beginning of round 1. I thought this looks like New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
where you're going to stand there for 4 hours to do nothing and then just wait for a name to be called.
I know.
I mean, I did see a stand-up comic that had a good line that he's like, "Do these people go to high school graduations on the weekends?"
Yeah,
you know
I mean that's basically what it is. You wait for people to go up to the stage.
But So it's a very impressive number, no question. And it would not be my cup of tea to go and enjoy it, but kudos to those that do.
I can confirm from my sleuthing, Jay, because I'm a journalist, sports journalist. Indianapolis did send an 8-person contingent to Pittsburgh. They were invited to do so by the NFL. They have not been invited to bid for the draft yet.
Now,
they are exploring bidding for the draft.
If you know my theory here, my conspiracy theory.
What's that? You have a conspiracy theory for everything, so I
No,
can't keep track of all of them.
I'm a critical thinker.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, and it is sometimes it's hard to know what's a social media post and what's an actual report, whatever, but I'm fairly certain that about 6 months ago there was an article that the NFL had said that if they were to do the draft in different cities, that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is probably not a venue where they would hold it, because people have been, there was always that talk of, oh, you bring the driver up in a car, in the 2-seater, et cetera. And supposedly the NFL had said that they would not house it at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I have no idea the legitimacy of that. However, I will simply say this. I believe the NFL would not actually do that. I believe that, because even if it hasn't been reported, I don't think that they would go there, because that would then give visible, tangible proof as to how many people are there.
Yeah, there might be something to that. But in conversations that I had, so I'm working on an Indianapolis Business Journal article about Indy potentially hosting the draft. It's going to drop Friday. So I talked to some people at Sports Corps and with the city and all of that. And what I was told is that the NFL wants it to be centered around downtown for all these places. So I think a lot of it has to do with the fact, just, logistically speaking, you've got a different venue that's a non-NFL venue and all of that. The fact that it's out in Speedway, that's not attractive to the NFL. They want to be near the hotels and have people walk in and have a festival-like
So they
atmosphere.
They would do it where they did the stage for the Final Four concert.
American Legion Mall is the one that's being talked about right now.
20,000 people.
But, a lot of these places like Pittsburgh, they did their stadium. It's not Heinz Field, acupuncture, whatever, AccuSure, whatever it is, and then the park across the rivers on the North Shore was where they had like the Fan Fest. So Indy could have it at the American Legion Mall, but maybe the draft itself would be at, I don't know, Gamebridge or something. You know what I mean? Like something that was loosely connected. So you have the whole area that is the draft area. So that's what it would look like. Other draft storylines, congrats to Fernando Mendoza. Obviously, that was a fait accompli, right? We knew that for months. And I'm telling you, Jake, the one guarantee of the draft, somebody always jumps up and makes an insane reach for a quarterback. And that's exactly what you had, right, with Ty Simpson and the Rams.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Simpson in a normal draft class would have been like probably a third round pick.
Yeah, okay.
But because this was the draft class where you had no clear second quarterback, I think that's why they took him. Yeah. And you know what? That's actually a really smart organization, so maybe they make me eat my words. But, yeah, I think that was –
And there was all this –
that was an insane reach at 13.
There was a report that McVay wasn't happy, and then you find out the two of them met and whatever.
Yeah, they were in on him the whole time.
Get to the sandwich?
Yeah, let's get to the sandwich. Time for our Hoagie and our hero of the week. Brought to you by our friends at Hoagies and Hops, 42nd and Boulevard, hoagiesandhops.com for catering, menu, and options. And our friends at Chili Water Brewing. We'll get to the beer here in just a little bit. This is the Always Sunny. So I run down the ingredients. This is the most comprehensive and sandwich that they have here, Sando, at Hoagies and Hops. So you got a little chopped turk. Got a little Munster, right? A little horsey mayo. And then let me make sure I can get everything here. Bacon bits, peppadew pep, banana pep, LT. And look, I know that it looks a little bit messy on screen.
Perfect.
It all comes together in your mouth. Let's get that in post. I can explain that. Okay, yeah. We'll grab that one.
What are we doing?
Wait, let me think of what I want to, because I can't say comes. All right, 3, 2, 1. I know. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I know it looks a little messy here, but it really all blends together when you put your lips around. No, hold on. All right, Vince, stay with me here because we'll grab all this. We'll edit this. I don't want to say put your lips around.
You say that all the time, and it never gets edited.
All right, here we go. We have an editing department here at ISC. I don't have to do it, which is great.
They just you. That's the problem.
They just go ahead and they edit it for us. It's awesome. I don't even have to worry about it. All right, 3, 2, 1. I know it looks a little bit messy here, but it all really blends together wonderfully, and the flavor swirling around on top of your tongue. Yes, that's good. We're going to stick with that one. Always Sunny. All right, let me move my mic.
Here's the best part about it. The pepper has like this little. It's kind of a sweet pepper with just a little bit of the heat to it, but it is a perfect accentuation to the Blood on the Tracks, which is of course the Blood Orange IPA from Chili Water, which is fabulous. That subtlety, the orange is perfect on there, like just a slight touch of the citrus. That then when you put it together with the pepper here, perfect. This is like when you go to a restaurant and they tell you a wine that pairs perfectly with this particular meat. That pairs perfectly with this sandwich.
This is an IPA for non-IPA drinkers. I am normally not an IPA drinker, but I just love it. It doesn't overpower you. You know, sometimes IPAs just like punch you right in the face. It doesn't overpower you at all. It's just delicious. You're right. The sweetness of the Blood Orange, really, really good. Actually, speaking of the sweetness, and you mentioned the pep, Christina loaded us up with some pepperdew pep shooters here, which are really, really good, which have some prosciutto in there and salty, sweet, juicy, delicious. A little cheese in there, a little pro. Really, really good as well.
I look my mic when I
Don't forget, on the menu, yes, obviously, Sandos, cheesesteaks, hot dogs. Don't forget about the sides. Okay, so she's got pepperdew pep. She's got house-made hummus as well, which is absolutely phenomenal. They've got the creamy dill dip. Really, really good. Beet pickled eggs, all that stuff. Right here at Hoagies and Hops unique menu. Our hero of the week, sticking with the draft. Did you see this story? Eli Heidenreich. Do you know who I'm talking about? He was the 230th pick of the NFL draft. But he is Navy's all-time leading receiver in program history. And he's a Pittsburgh native, Mount Lebanon High School, where my friends Gavin and Connor Lamb went. Mount Lebanon. Connor Lamb, who serves in the Congress now. And he got drafted by the Steelers. How cool is that? So first off, you're at Navy. Navy doesn't get a lot of guys drafted, right?
Does he have to serve?
I don't know.
I mean, David Robinson.
Yeah, I should have looked at that. But he was actually at the draft, so he walked down and went on stage with a terrible towel. Like, how amazing would it be not only to fulfill your NFL dream? Caden Curry kind of did this.
Did he use the towel off?
But to be with your hometown team. Caden Curry, which made me feel hopelessly old, said he had a Peyton Manning Super Bowl patch jersey from when, he was a baby or something like that. And was able to put it on. But I don't know. I just thought that was cool. We love sports for stuff like that. So congratulations to Eli Heidenreich. Cool. And a good player, really a super athletic player. Can you imagine being a Division I football player and being in the Naval Academy at the same time? Like, how on earth would you get coursework done and training? Yeah, it's insane. I mean, and David Robinson's one of the most impressive people in American sports history.
No question.
Right? I mean,
that's fair.
Just when you add everything up, him as an athlete, him as a person, his intelligence level, his accomplishments, really, really incredible career. But that's my hero of the week. Did you have one yourself? Or did you just want to piggyback on mine? You really like the Always Sunny. I know you're always mowing down on it when we get this one. It's a really, really good Sando. And our Blood on the Tracks, Blood Orange IPA as well at Chili Water Brewing. That's right here, the bar. I could actually reach over and touch it right here. Yep. I can't quite reach it, but if I had better NFL draft level reach, I would be able to do that. 42nd and Boulevard to hang out here with us anytime or just come on your own and hang out on the patio. It's springtime, summertime, things have warmed up. Really, really beautiful to enjoy a Sando, enjoy a cold beer, and have a great time. We come back on the show. These sports gambling issues, Jake, are really starting to take over, including one that has a local tie because it happened right here near home. We'll tell you what that is when we return. It's Bailey and Wood Presents Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network.
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching, barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do, from Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Morgan give it a snap. Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Might help if I had my mic down. Hello, welcome back. We'll have to get that in post too. 3, 2, 1. A lot of editing today.
Okay.
Hi, welcome back. It's Query and Schultz, presented by Bailey and Wood Financial Group here on the ISC Sports Network. He's Jake. I'm Derek. Thank you to our presenting sponsors, Bailey and Wood Financial Group, BAWFG.com, 855-350-HOME. Whether you're looking to get that pre-approval for your home mortgage, it is home buying season. And contact Mike Wood and his team. 5-star customer service, Indiana branch locations all over the place at BAWFG.com, refinancing, and more. The best in the business. And they got to be almost hitting 20 years. I think they started 2008, so right around there, and make a huge impact in our community as well, with giving back and very charitable, philanthropic. And you had mentioned the golf outing, which is only fewer than 4 months away, which is weird to think.
That is crazy.
Yeah, kind of like the last hurrah of summer. I always felt like the Bailey and Wood golf outing, but certainly one of the highlights of the year. And they're going to take care of you just like they took care of me. 855-350-HOME, BAWFG.com. So, Jake, let me preface by saying when we talk about sports gambling, I'm a big proponent of this, whether it be, some of these hot button issues like marijuana or sports gambling. I think grown adults should be allowed to do what they want to do and make their own decisions. I am not one to stand in the way of people choosing who to be, what to be, and what to do with their life, as long as obviously it's within the realm of, the law and things like that. But that said, I think we kind of knew once, and this sort of happened at the very tail end of our time on the radio together. Remember, 2019 was when sports gambling became legalized in Indiana, and Indiana was one of the first handful of states to knock it out. And as much as I was a proponent of that, I knew that one of the problems with this is that athletes or officials or umpires were undoubtedly going to get involved, right? You knew that this was going to happen. So some of this has been trickling in here lately, but the latest big bombshell is Texas Tech transfer quarterback Brandon Sorsby, who was really one of college football's, he's perhaps the top transfer and one of their best returning players, who's going to make $5 million at Texas Tech, had to check himself into a treatment program for gambling addiction. Now, I don't know if this is him trying to get ahead of it because the cat got out of the bag.
Right.
You want to think good things about this. But Sorsby, when he was at Indiana, according to reports, was betting as a true freshman, and he was redshirting at Indiana. Small bets. He bet on Indiana to win, and he never appeared in a game that he bet on. That said, it's a no-no. You're still not allowed to do it. And I think, unfortunately for him, a couple of $10 or $20 bets might be costing him $5 million.
He also had, when he went to a Major League Baseball game where they say he made hundreds of bets, in-game bets, but they were all for like $2 each, right? So you say to yourself, like, well, that's not bad. But, okay, either way, whichever way you want to crunch the numbers. Derek, the reality is this, okay, and you've heard me say this a lot. When I was a kid, I vividly recall, the narrative always was, if sports gambling is illegal, why does the local paper have the point spreads on the agate page, right? And as young as I can remember, one of the fun things that my dad and I would do is he would sit there and read off the NFL, and we would try to guess what the line was. And I knew, he explained to me what that meant, and I knew that meant that men would go to Las Vegas and wager on it because Vegas was the one place that you could go and do that, right? It was also made very clear to me from a very young age. The one thing, Derek, I've always said this, that my dad was the most adamant about was he was an anti-gambler, Now, to your point, once you're in sports talk radio and then the gambling apps come about, they are a huge supporter of sports talk radio. I mean, it's a significant ad windfall and revenue windfall. Open disclaimer. I mean, there's no doubt about that. In addition to that, the apps also do buy into and pay the programs or contribute the programs for Gambling Anonymous and different organizations to assist in that. And yes, the majority of people should not have what they're able to enjoy restricted by those that have had problems with it. But it is a dangerous precedent because of the fact of the easy accessibility, number one, and the anonymity under which most people assume they're doing it, number two. And, I've told you, I've been at Pacer games, and I look around when I'm sitting at Pacer games, and the people sitting in front of me, you can see their phones that are out, and they look like they're texting people. And, in fact, they're just on apps making bets constant. And it does at times limit your enjoyment of a game when the guy around you can't stop talking about how he's got a parlay or the number of times I hear it all the time. Players are checking in and they're yelling at him like, you better get me 2 more rebounds and whatever else. There's a danger that comes with a lot of that stuff. Most people can handle it. Most people can enjoy it. And all of us should have the opportunity to do so. But it has become so commonplace, Derek, that I think, unfortunately, that means that people are desensitized to or nearly nullified to the possible ramifications that come from getting too far gone or losing control of what it is that you're doing. And that's the sad and dangerous part about it.
Yeah, my first internship was, shout out Connecticut Post, Bridgeport, Connecticut, the Connecticut's Post Sports Desk. And I ran the phones on Friday and Saturday nights. And a lot of those times I was taking in box scores from coaches for football games or boys and girls basketball, and then into the spring with baseball and things like that. But after about, I worked, my shift was from 8 p.m. to midnight. And after about 10 p.m., the phone essentially stopped ringing with one exception.
Oh, yeah.
With one exception.
San Jose State and Hawaii.
Exactly. The only calls that I would get to the sports desk would be, hello, can I post sports is what you say. You just pick up the phone, post sports. Hi, yeah, can you tell me the San Jose State Tulane score? Can you give me an update on that? And we'd go through on the ticker or whatever and be able to find the wire and be able to find it. And we would always give the sports updates. And you just knew, like, the only reason that somebody in Bridgeport, Connecticut is interested in the San Jose State Tulane game is because there's money involved, right? So yeah, this has been an open secret for many, many years. This has been going on years and years before the open gambling. But I think what we're seeing now, Jake, is because you have such easy access to it, and especially with people in Sorsby's age group. We have remember our friend. Well, I'm actually not going to give his name, but I know somebody who's a late 20-something who told me once that he's a big sports fan. He says it's essentially an epidemic among his friend group, sports gambling. Like, he has friends that are in the hole like thousands of dollars just because it's so easy for them to get in, and then you get behind and then you're chasing it, and it's tough. So, I hope Sorsby gets the help that he needs, but to think that this is just an isolated case
no way.
Is ridiculous. And then you even have the pros doing it. I mean, you see what's going on with Terry Rozier? And he pulls himself out of a game, and he tells a buddy, hey, bet all the unders for me today. And he pulls himself out of the game in 23, allegedly. And the bettors hit on all those unders. And, there's a federal investigation. I mean, if he is found guilty of any of these things, I mean, this is like jail time stuff. Wire fraud and things like that. This is felony stuff here. So it's serious. And we don't think of it as serious because it's so part of the culture of watching sports now, the lines and the overs and the unders and even the individual player props now over the last couple of years. But you do this the wrong way if you're on the inside, and it's no different than insider trading or some of this other stuff that you see on Wall Street and then, white collar.
And it also, Derek, I keep going back to the NBA and the NFL. They care about this in college football because the irony is, the reason they come down about it and the reason that they're concerned about it is because they want to uphold the integrity of the game so that that your bet is not being compromised in its legitimacy. That's why, right?
Yeah.
They need to make sure that people know, hey, I'm going to continue watching the NFL and I'm going to continue wagering on it because I know they're doing everything they can to make sure this is a fair and balanced contest. And that's the irony of it all.
Yeah, it's just you can't preach. Well, you have to follow the rules about sports gambling, and this can be dangerous. And then at the same time say, oh, by the way, this segment brought to you by FanDuel or DraftKings. You know what I mean? Like, it's the ultimate hypocrisy because you're taking in all of this money and then warning against it's bad. It's no different, Jake, than the Joe Camel cartoon cigarette ads, right? Where, you've got these on the back of sports magazines and you're like, well, we got the Surgeon's General warning on there. Yeah, but the Camel's shooting pool and he's with some bikini-clad gal and he looks cool, right? The cigarette's out of his mouth. Like, I want to smoke. Like, that was my gateway into smoking.
Really? And
I just so desperately wanted to be cool. I so desperately wanted to be cool. That was part of it, too.
By the way,
just Joe Camel.
By the way, you know what I just realized, Derek?
What?
This is our final show before the month of May.
Yeah, isn't it crazy?
Let's go, month of May, baby.
Friday.
I love
Friday's
everything
May
about
1st.
it. American Dairy Association of Indiana has us once again hosting the Rookie Luncheon. I can't wait for it. Derek's too highbrow to go to the rehearsal, so we'll probably screw it up. But I am thrilled for the.
I'm sorry I can't make the rehearsal. Yeah, but we know what we're doing up there.
You do. I get terrified.
I don't know why. You're so weird. Such a weird thing. 2026 is the 110th running of the race, the 90th year of the beloved milk tradition started by Louis Meyer in 1936. And we have our milk right here. Our winner of the week. Winners drink milk.
Think about the Dairy Association. Okay, think about this. Not just the economic impact for Indiana, but just what it means to the culture, the heritage of Indiana. Not just the drinking of the milk, which is the most famous tradition in sports, but the dedication to the Indiana dairy farmer in helping out. Think about the nutrition and the importance level of creating healthy bones for kids throughout the state of Indiana, the education program that the Dairy Association is involved in. And it goes without saying, after a workout, whether you don't have to win the Indy 500, you don't have to finish the mini marathon, which hopefully I'll be doing on Saturday, in order to enjoy milk. You can do it after each and every workout and get the same amount of protein that you would get in a hard-boiled egg, the same amount of vitamin A that you would get in a cup of spinach, the same potassium you would get in a banana. The best nutrients in refreshing fashion, chocolate milk notably after a workout, but milk in general, as you know, winners drink milk.
You know what I do, and it kind of grosses Ash out, but it's a good way to get some of the calcium and the stuff from dairy products. One of my favorite things to do to snack on, I just go in the fridge and I open up a bag of shredded cheese and just cheese.
Well, you're like
sometimes I mix them.
Curds.
Like we'll have like sharp cheddar and like Mott's, or we even have Parm in there. She thinks it's gross. I eat just Parm. Sometimes we get blue cheese crumbles. Just
blue cheese is great.
Right down the gullet.
The gullet.
Yeah. So obviously, milk, chocolate milk after workouts. We talked about that before, but cheese just down the gullet all the time. Just I don't know how many pounds of cheese I consume in a year, but it has to be. It's like an NFL draft attendance number of pounds of cheese, but it's legitimate, unlike the NFL draft attendance. Winner of the week to me is very easy. IU football.
Fabulous.
IU football is the winner of the week. 8 draft picks. 2 first-rounders because Omar Cooper snuck in with the Jets. How about D'Angelo Ponce and Cooper? Both going to the Jets. Mendoza the first, Aiden Fisher, who was a tremendous college player, the last in the 7th round. And also, Jake, what it does is it hopefully hammers home how good this team was. What really bothered me, and even Indiana fans were kind of doing this, what bothered me about their run last year is that it so came out of nowhere, and it was such a quote-unquote Cinderella story that people tried to make it into something that it wasn't. They tried to kind of lessen how good Indiana was. Like, this is some sort of miracle that they're so good. No, they have 8 NFL players on this team. They have more than that. They probably have a dozen NFL players on this team. They have 8 draft picks. They're good because they're really good. Yes, Signetti deserves credit, and they built it from the ashes and the ground up. All of those things are true. But, like, I had a buddy that had a post that was like, the reason why Indiana is such an incredible story is, like, what? They have, like, 2 NFL players? And I'm like, brother, they've got, like, 20 NFL players probably on the roster when it's all said and done.
But this is the thing. The bottom line is, I had somebody ask me, they're like, well, Indiana lost these 8 players. Like, how do they sustain it? The way you sustain it is you say to players, which one of these players was not this good, or excuse me, which one of these players was this good when they arrived at Indiana, right? These are all players that got better by that system and with that coaching. And
100%.
yes, the credit goes to the players, don't get me wrong. They have to do it. But these are players that were originally recruited by James Madison or were overlooked in a lot of cases and ended up at Indiana for a variety of different reasons, whatever it may be. But they all got better over the course of their time. And that's why now, and yes, that is a recruiting tool, NFL. Come here and look what happens. We have 8 players that went to the NFL. The other biggest recruiting tool is NIL. And Indiana has that, and that's why you have right now, the number one recruit in America is verbally committed to Texas Tech, but is now doing multiple visits to Indiana to visit it, and that may be in play. And he has connections to the state of Indiana. But players are going to notice, Derek, which means one would assume their talent level stays in that same area.
Yeah, there's no reason why Indiana, with the funding and everything else too, because that's another part of this is, do you have the money and the resources? And Indiana's got that out the wazoo. There's no reason to think that they can't keep this going. Now, what I will say is there is no way that they will again have a transfer class like they had in 24, where literally all of those guys hit. That's not how the transfer portal works. You hope that 60% of the guys that you get end up becoming better players than when you got them, right? So I don't think that's sustainable. Getting a bunch of, lower power, lower Division I players and having them all turn into not only all Big Ten level players, but NFL level players. I don't think that's repeatable. But a lot of what else Indiana is doing is repeatable. Eventually one of these guys like Hoover or somebody like that is going to come in and they're just going to be a bust. They're not going to be like Mendoza, right? Or they're not. They're not going to be like Pat Coogan.
Well, I mean, the kid that's the number one recruit in the country, right?
I'm a
Clemson fan. I've seen plenty of those that they're there for 2 years and then they end up at South Carolina.
It's just like
State,
Indiana basketball. It's the same thing. Sometimes you have a story like Lamar Wilkerson, and sometimes you have Hunter Perea. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it hits, sometimes
Hunter Perea,
it doesn't hit. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the ultimate
By
example.
the way, are you ready for my confession?
Sure. Can we do it next segment?
Sure.
Okay, great. Quick Hits comes your way next as we continue here on Query.
It's a big one. You're going to be sitting down, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
ISC Sports Network. Of course I'm sitting down.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do, from Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Welcome back. It's Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. Hi, how are you?
Can you act a little more enthusiastic about it?
Welcome back.
Yeah, that's better.
It's Query and Schultz.
It's better.
ISC Sports Network. You know what I always, and nobody asks me for advice anymore because I'm kind of a has-been, but when we'd have like our interns or whatever else, and they would be like, well, how do you talk on the radio? It's like, just talk like I'm talking right now. Like,
well, a little, but a little emphasis.
Yeah, like you have to project a little bit, I guess, but
like not like you're in a coma.
Yeah, what you don't want to do is like cheese it up. Like, welcome back. It's Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. How you doing? Heavy hitting sports stuff today on the show. Like, you don't want that, right? You just want to like talk like you're like a normal person that didn't have some sort of traumatic head injury.
You were loud when you first started. You've
What?
calmed down a little bit.
You've never told me that before.
Oh, yeah, you were loud.
You were arrogant when you first started, and that hasn't calmed down at all.
Oh, good.
So
How could you not be?
it was not loud. You barely let me talk the first week. I had friends and family tune in, and they're like, hey, we were trying to find your show, and we couldn't find you. We were on 1260. I'm like, well, yeah, that's the show.
It's because my ears were ringing because of how loud you were talking. So I had to back it up a little bit.
The problem with that show is that they were like, well, yeah, you're the co-host of the show, but we're just going to have you run the board. We know you know how to run the audio board, so you can run the board, and then we're going to hire somebody, and they're going to run the board. And I said, okay, yeah. I said, like, what are we looking at, like, timeline-wise? Like 6 to 8 weeks? They're like, yeah. Like 2-3 months. 8.5 years later, I was still running. I was running the board the night before we were fired. So
that's right.
Ran the board the entire
You
time.
were sitting at the board when they came in and we peeled you away from it.
That's right, yeah. Many tears shed at that board. What's your confession? Let's get to that.
Okay, I wouldn't say necessarily, although it's somewhat true that I'm now a transvestite.
Excuse me?
Can
we say that on
I
the show?
think so, yeah. Isn't a transvestite just by definition somebody that wears clothing of the other gender? Isn't that right?
I thought it was just cross-dresser.
Okay, then I'm a cross-dresser.
Okay.
So Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to pick up something, and I went to a shopping area, and there was a major store that was, I had no idea, the store wasn't going out of business, but they were closing this particular division of said store. So everything 90% off.
Yeah.
And it's the last day of this sale. And I thought, well, I'll go in and check it out. So I go walking in, and the guy says, the only thing we have is over here. And it was all stuff for, like, literally, like William Perry, okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Quad XL.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the only men's stuff they had. And so then I thought, well, I'll pick up something for Shannon because, again, everything's 90% off. And as I'm going over to the women's rack to look at their leggings because, now I'm kind of buying for myself in that regard as well. But so I go over there, and I'm looking for stuff for Shannon, and they had a women's top that was a 5XL. Women's 5XL.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of like this shirt. So I tried it on, and I'm like, yeah, this fits, and it's $250. No, actually, I take that back. It was $650 because it was originally $65.
Wow.
And then I thought to myself, I mean, I'm 6'4" and 205, and it's a little big on me. So, like, I don't know, like Sandy Allen, I don't know what woman this was made for. But anyway, this shirt that I'm wearing is a woman's shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks comfy. Can I touch the fabric? I'm not just going to touch it without even asking permission. Yeah.
It's a little big, right?
Yeah.
But it's a woman's shirt, so I'm wearing women's clothing.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I thought of you because it doesn't have a pee stain or anything.
No.
But you're always looking for a good bargain.
That was a coffee stain, I think, at that Gap Damage Factory near Cincinnati.
But what do you think? Does it look like a women's sweatshirt?
I'm not going to hate on that at all. Now, I did get it was a male coat, but I have in my car right now a Youth XL. I can wear Youth XL. So I have a Youth XL North Face coat. And it actually has a tag on the inside that says, this coat belongs to. So I just wrote Derek Schultz and put my phone number. I mean, just in case I misplaced my coat. So if somebody finds it, they can see.
Does it have a Paddington Bear tag that comes on?
It has a little map, and it says, like, always explore or something. And it says, this coat belongs to. And I was like, well, I should write something on here. So I wrote Derek Schultz. And I put my phone
honestly,
number.
it had to be a mistake, though, right? Because, number one, I don't think this looks like a women's sweatshirt per se. But number two, again, it's a little big on me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? I don't know.
That smells crazy. Let's get to our quick hits now that we're done talking about women's clothes. A couple of congrats volleyball-wise. Congrats to the Indy Ignite in the franchise's second season. They're
Sunday,
the top
Derek.
seed for the Major League Volleyball Championship. 1 week left in the regular season. They can break the league's wins record. They have 21, so they've already tied it. A 4 seed in their first season. Indy reached the finals last year before falling to Orlando. They're going for the championship this year. And congrats to Ball State men's volleyball. They won the 16th MIVA tournament championship. Have a great men's volleyball program. You could watch, those games produced by ISC as well. So shout out to our crew here at ISC. Many of the same people that go in and meticulously edit the things that we say we're going to grab and post.
They don't do any of that.
Great job
Derek.
doing that. Well, I never rewatched the
Because
show.
it's supposed to be you that does that.
So I just trust them. I just do the honor system. I trust them. Cooper Flagg edging Con Knipple for Rookie of the Year. The 19-year-old, the second youngest player in NBA history to win Rookie of the Year behind only LeBron. 56-44.
Because, like, the last month that he was playing, he was getting 50 points and 55 rebounds every game.
wild.
So, yes.
It's pretty wild. I mean, but the fact that Knipple made it that close shows what a good season that he had.
And the fact that those two played together in college and they didn't win at all.
Yeah. Finally, we got just a ton of positive feedback from the car toilet discussion from last week. People really enjoyed that. They wanted to learn more. So
they said to just go ahead and flush that one.
I sent some links out to a few folks who were curious about pooping in their car.
You know what? You read that in the Nang Fong, didn't you?
What was the original story that we read in the Nang Fong?
I don't know, but
there were some. This is very esoteric inside joke. There's no way anybody that's listening to the show right now knows what we're talking about. But there were some like very, very like deep cut Quarian Schultz radio.
there was an
things.
article that you found. And you were like, no, like making your case about it. And I'm like, what newspaper is this from? And you hadn't like sourced it. And then you're like, well, it's from,
I looked it up, and it was a Chinese newspaper
called the Nangfang, which stands for.
I didn't know what it stood for, so I thought, to translate it, I thought it's just the newspaper. But I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Nan for news and Fang for paper.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
Didn't you end up following the Twitter account of the Nangfang?
I
and
did.
Get yourself on
I
like
did
a
for a
private
while.
communist list or something?
I did for a while. The government started tracking all of my tweets.
Right. Right.
We had some fun times with that stupid show. A lot of the things that I remember from that show have nothing to do with sports. It's all like the really remember the monkey and the wolf, and then we found out they were in cahoots, and
the monkey and the wolf
that
were awesome.
escaped. Yeah, so we had a bunch of funny stories like Larry the lobster who lived to 130, and
Lucky Larry.
Yeah. A lot of them were animal related. Pelicans and a lot of animal related ones. We come back on the show, kitchen related, home remodel related. Chateau Kitchens, buy it or Bobley comes your way next as we tie a bow on this thing. It's Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
Hey, AC.
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC.
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back, final time. Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. Thanks so much for being here. He's Jake. I'm Derek. Jake, it's time for our Chateau Kitchens Buy It or Bobley, brought to you by our friends at Chateau Kitchens, chateaukitchens.com, at Chateau Kitchens on Instagram and Facebook for before and after pictures of their latest projects. And I talk about them and sing their praises all the time. They did a kitchen for us. They did a bathroom for us. They did a basement for us. Love me some Chateau Kitchens, and they can do the same
fabulous
for you
work
in your home. Actually, we got to call them. I haven't told Steven this yet, but Master Bath's got to get fixed up. It's about 12 years old, and it's time.
Is that the one with the two showers?
It's a little dated. Yeah, 2 shower heads, which is actually good because sometimes I have to give Ollie a bath. He gets gross in the spring. He gets out in the mud and mulch and all that stuff, so it's actually helpful to have 2. So we take dad and pup showers.
Okay.
With my best buddy.
How old is he?
13. He's getting old.
Yeah.
He likes you.
Oh,
he doesn't like most people, but he always liked you. It's been a while since you've been over.
Nah, I take him out drinking every once in a while.
When's the last time you were over at my house? Have you seen the basement? You've seen the pictures of me in the basement, but have you seen the basement in person?
No, I saw the picture of you,
Yeah.
and while the basement looked beautiful, the picture of you and what was lurking behind the water heater was enough.
I could take you down there if you want to see it. I don't have to be in the towel, but I can take you down.
Yeah, no.
Take you down to the basement.
Yeah, I don't need to.
So
see
here's
that.
what we do with
Never
Buy It
again.
or Bobley. I give a statement. Jake and I go back and forth whether we buy it or it's Bobley. Statement number 1, Jake. Obviously, Indianapolis will someday host the NFL draft. Buy it or Bobley.
I buy it. I mean, eventually they're going to have to. And they do the rotation here. So, yes, buy it.
I mean, how could they not, right? You've already had it in Cleveland, for God's sake. In Detroit, how can you not have it in Indy?
Yeah. I mean, I would eventually, yes, you would assume.
Yeah, it only makes sense that it would be that way. Buy it or Bobley, Detroit is the worst 1 seed in NBA playoff history.
Hard to argue it. I said
this is pretty bad.
I mean, they may still win that series. Who knows? But I said, Derek, when I watched them at the end of the year, I'm like, kudos to them. They've had a great season. But if this is the number 1 seed, the Pacers are going to win 60 games in 2 years.
In Detroit's defense, the West standings are like this. The top of the Thunder and Spurs are up here, and the Suns, who were the last team in the playoffs, are like down here. The NBA standings are more like this.
Yeah, that's
the
fair.
East standings are more like
That's
this.
right.
Like, I do think that Orlando and some of those teams at Philly and some of those teams kind of at the bottom of the playoff standings are better than normal years.
And Orlando has a dude.
But-
Orlando
yeah.
has a guy that can take over a game.
But this always happens, right? Where remember those Atlanta teams? Wasn't there an Atlanta team in 2015? Was Jeff Teague on that team? And they were a 1 seed.
Yes.
The 94 Hawks with Danny Manning, who the Pacers eliminated. They
Craig
were a
Elo,
1 seed.
yeah.
That wasn't a great team, but they were a 1 seed that year. So this happens every once in a while. But what's stunning to me, Jake, is that Pistons won 60 games. I mean, 60 games is hard to do. Like, we've seen 53 or 54 win teams be 1 seeds, but 60 games, man. Yeah, I think they're – I haven't measured it out, but I think they're way up there for the absolute worst. Final statement, statement number 3. Ooh, this is the spiciest one of all. Last week was Chris Ballard's last draft class as Indianapolis Colts general manager.
Bull
Biden
Schultz. Bull Schultz.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere.
I'm going to say Bull Schultz too, because there's just I don't know if there's even reason to think that he is on the hot seat right now. I don't even know if he is. I don't know if the daughters have him on the hot seat.
I have one for you.
Okay.
Buy it or Bull Schultz?
Peppers are delicious shooters.
Fernando
Buy it.
Mendoza, in his 1 year at Indiana, won more playoff games than he will win cumulatively in his first 6 seasons as a Raider.
Oh, man. So, let's see. He won 3, right? Mm-hmm. Bama, Rose Bowl, Peach Championship. How many seasons am I counting?
6.
Buy it.
Okay.
What if it's a tie? Might be a wash. Might end up being 3-3. No, but I buy that. It's really hard to win playoff games in the NFL.
Okay, I got another one for you.
Yeah.
Buy it or
Oh my
Bull
God,
Schultz?
5 Biter Bowl bleeps. Yeah.
We're 3 days away from the best month of the calendar year.
I mean, contractually, I have to say the yes,
Of course.
even though I love March. I love March.
March
I'm
is
a,
great.
I'm a
but March-
college basketball
hey,
guy. at heart.
there can be milk in March, don't get me wrong, but the American Dairy Association, the work we do with them,
Yeah.
the buzz, the hype, the expectation, the mustache, the
Look at
Derek's camping till 9
Yeah.
p.m.
Yeah. My favorite month of the year to be in Indianapolis is May. My favorite sports month is still March, slightly.
Okay.
Thanks to our great sponsors, Chateau Kitchens, right here. American Dairy Association, Indiana, right here. winnersdrinkmilk.com. That's probably not safe, but we're going to try it anyway. Chili Water and Hoagies and Hops. I don't know why I'm combining all of our props together. I don't know what we're doing. Yeah. HoagiesandHops.com. And our presenting sponsor, Bailey & Wood Financial Group. We got a Bailey & Wood thing. Yep, there it is. All right, there we go. Orange, Gator, orange and blue. For Jordan, for Brant, I don't even know who's in the truck. Vince is in there because he's yelling in my ear. I don't know who. Maybe Charlie's in there. Hi, Charlie, if you're in there. For Rake, he's Jake. I'm Derek. We'll see you next time right here on Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do, from Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.